have been briefed by officials regarding the effects of Debbie and what we're going to do going forward. I'm here with North Carolina Emergency Management Director Will Ray. We also have Kinston Mayor Hardy and council members Hardy and Suggs with us. We also have Senator Bob Brinson with us today. North Carolina continues to face unrelenting rain and destruction from Tropical Storm Debbie. We have seen rain continue to pound counties throughout the state. Right now, 32 counties have states of emergency declared. We expect there will probably be more as this storm moves north and west. We have upped the number of National Guard members who have been activated to 374. As you know, there have been multiple reports of tornado touchdowns throughout eastern part of the state. And unfortunately, we have one fatality from that in Wilson County. And our prayers are with his friends and family. We have right now about 125,000 people without power. That number continues to fluctuate. And at last report, 142,000 people had lost their power, but have had their power restored. Swiftwater rescue teams are placed throughout the state. Some of them have already had to be activated here. We asked North Carolinians to be careful, to be safe, to pay attention to local officials, particularly if you live in low-lying areas that may be prone to flooding. Be wary. Make sure you are listening for evacuation orders. We ask people to honor voluntary evacuations if requested by local officials. We have a number of shelters that are open throughout the state, and people have begun to go to those shelters. And obviously, this is not over. Rain is still coming down, and we know that riverine flooding potential, our rivers are rising, so we know that from our river gauges there will be several areas that we are concerned about river flooding over the next few days. I'm going to now turn this over for more specifics to Will Ray, our Director of Emergency Management, and then we will answer questions that you might have. Director Ray.
Thank you, Governor. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you to the team from Kinston as well as the folks in Lenoir County who have done an outstanding job supporting the ongoing operations here as well as supporting the state deployed assets that we had. Touching first on the weather forecast, as the governor said, we are seeing the system begin to really move into North Carolina. As we've all seen with the forecast tracks, the center of Debbie is continuing to move slightly to the west. We will see the bulk of the system continue to move into North Carolina through the day today and into the evening. Right now, the center of Debbie is anticipated to have exited the state into Virginia very, very late overnight or into the early hours of Friday morning. But as the governor said, we are continuing to see, we are and will continue to see impacts from Debbie with some of the trailing rain bands that we will see behind the center. As the governor said, our primary concern right now continues to be the amount of rainfall, the associated riverine flooding that could potentially lead to. We have impacts that we are already seeing in the southeastern part of our state with some of the flooding in low-lying areas as the rain continues to fall. We know that as the system continues its move through North Carolina, those risks and threats will continue to increase. The water levels will continue to increase, and we will continue to see that threat move into the western part of the state. As the governor said, we currently have 32 local states of emergency. There are 3 jurisdictions that have voluntary evacuation orders in place. Those are Bladen, Brunswick, and Moore counties. We have activated an additional number of National Guard personnel that brings that total up to 374 with 131 vehicles across 72 force packages. And again, those are staged across North Carolina, both here in the eastern branch where we are today, as well as into our central and western part. We have 16 shelters open, and the census is at this point approximately just over 60 individuals. Our local jurisdictions have continued to plan and prepare for potential impact in their jurisdictions, and so are opening these shelters as a precautionary measure to support either ongoing flooding or in anticipation of what could come with extended flooding. Cannot say enough about what our counties and our cities and other municipalities have done and continue to do to make sure that all 10.8 million North Carolinians are safe. We continue to work with our partners in the healthcare infrastructure, our partners at the Office of EMS, to make sure that we have contingency plans should we need a state medical support shelter and potential support there for individuals that may need a higher level of acuity. We are also planning some contingency options related to sheltering, again, to make sure that our local partners have what they need to either do their own sheltering through some of our ongoing commodity distribution or looking at potential personnel or other facilities that may be needed. Earlier today, DOT and the State Highway Patrol did report there have been 2 areas where we have seen some inundation across major roadways. There was one area earlier today on I-95 around Lumberton that did have some water across the road. The State Highway Patrol did report just a little while ago that has been cleared. There's also some water inundation that was seen around 40 in the Burgaw area. So we continue to work with both DOT and our State Highway Patrol partners to make sure that our roadways remain clear and safe. As the governor said, we would ask people to continue to follow the directives of your local public safety agencies. Please make sure you are calling 911 for life-threatening or urgent situations. Please otherwise keep that line open for individuals in your community that may need emergent support. And last thing, again, we would continue to say, please make sure you have a reliable way to get information both on the weather forecast, the conditions in your community, and what your local public safety agencies are directing or asking you to do. It's going to be really paramount for folks over the next several days as we continue to look at the flooding threat and the potential rise in our river basins, that members of the general public are able to receive information quickly to be able to take action if they need to.